They can travel back and forth in time. They can foresee things to some degree. Well, good night. 2,000 years ago, don't let this guy be turned into, wasp on a stick. I'm sorry, but that wasn't who he was, and it wasn't what happened. Oh, my gosh. All the millions of people who've suffered and died because of this kind of thing. So we're not dealing with gods on earth and perfect beings. We're dealing with people who themselves, if they exist, have gone through long periods of their own grief and tried to get things straight and developed enough to try to interact with us as a lesser developed race and not screw us up and not create more gods. It's a mess. And the calculations, the probabilities at this time, as I understand them, is in about 700 years, we'll be through all this stuff. We'll have straightened it out for ourselves. No ETs are going to come and do it for us. And that would only believe me, more ETs is more trouble. And that's why all the UFO groups that are talking about benevolent extraterrestrials walking among us and to contact and let's go out into the desert, you are whistling Dixie, folks. And all the good people that, go for this disclosure, have a nice day. There are ETs, okay. We're told there's 3 races observing us now that will not interact at all, no contact, nothing. We occasionally will see some of their ships, but they ain't coming down into this mess, and they're not going to be party to setting in motion another couple thousand years of insanity. So we get to work it out in the trenches as the Catholic Church falls, as it will be falling. As many other sources of prophecy have foretold that. But it's in the Meier material as well, and it's this thing in France is one of those signposts. Italy will then next find a lot of trouble, as will other countries that are already experiencing. It's because we're not taking responsibility to stop this. And here's one for the touchy-feely liberal friends of mine among us. All the countries that are experiencing the problems of illegal immigration are allowing themselves to be imbalanced by it, and it's not compassionate, and it's not helpful, and it's because people have been allowed and encouraged to overbreed in their own countries with minimal education and economics and have become disadvantaged under the control of their governments and their church influences. And there are too many organisms vying for the same resources and contributing the byproducts of consumption. There are certain things that are just mathematics and science. You put a terrarium on a tabletop and then keep introducing organisms into it to vie for the product of the fecundity of the earth in there, and you'll find out that at a certain point it's fouled. And it's no agenda to eliminate the population of the earth. They're trying to tell us, look, you're overrunning yourselves here. And this is going to have people overrunning your borders, and the people that will overrun borders will come for a better life because they haven't created a good enough one in their country. It's not about bad people.
I agree with you. It's not about bad people, and I feel very sad about what's going on. I wish there was a world passport. I really do.
Well, it will come with true responsibility. See, this is where if you and I carry through on exactly what you said, we start taking responsibility for ourselves. That still small voice inside, it says, wait a minute, I'm not going to have 6 kids here when I'm living in the dirt and there's nothing to farm and I can't support them, and now I've got to leave here to go there and then to send the money back. In the meantime, okay, then I'll bring the family here, and now it's bunny breeding time here, and now what am I going to do because I'm working for minimum wage? Well, it's better. I mean, it's a dead-end course. I had a real rude awakening, and I just have to tell you, when I came to California as a basically unskilled guy who was taught to play his guitar and paint nice pictures, and then I have a child to raise as a single parent at 32, and I'm working in car washes and restaurants and everything, minimum wage jobs, I met some of the most wonderful, sweetest, hardworking people who were here and here illegally, but by golly, as nice as they and hardworking, their first act that they made when they came to this country was to break the law. Now, I didn't see it that way at the time because that was not an issue to me. I'm just working with charming people. But we have to really be responsible. Listen, Billy Meier, doesn't matter, play irons, UFOs, forget it. Wherever you get your wake-up call that we are responsible, then once you know that, there's no more excuses politically, religiously, any other way. I talked to a friend of mine, a man I hadn't seen in over 50 years. I had known him as a med student in Chicago. When I finally searched him out on the internet, I found him as a retired physician in Beverly Hills. He was retired, but he was a person who was still doing research work to try and help straighten out the medical system. He's the man responsible for getting Martin Luther King Hospital closed because of all the, violations. He went in and did that research to help protect people and got them shut down for at least for a time, whatever. Anyhow, a nice Jewish guy, presumably little guy, I said to him one day, I said, "Hey, buddy, I hope you don't think I'm, out of my mind here, but I think we have a real problem in this state with illegal immigration and the medical system." And he turned and he looked at me really steely-eyed, and I thought, oh boy, I'm about to really get it, like how unfeeling I am. And he said to me, "Michael, do you know how many billions of dollars this is costing us just in the medical field alone, and the closure of emergency?" And he went into this whole thing, and I laughed out loud for that. I said, "Oh my God, I didn't." He says, I'm in this. I know what this is doing. People are just crazy. They don't understand that they're cutting off their own nose here. You're not going to have a medical system here for anybody, only for people that come here to birth their baby. And he's not a prejudiced guy. It's not about that. It's about how things work, cause and effect. Overpopulation, you got trouble. But you can't bring it up in the countries where the church is too strong, or other reasons. We don't have enough people to work. Communists can think that way too. So all this stuff, we can put everything aside when we get the message. And I think you and I both have the message. Whatever our personal opinions or beliefs about any number of things are, we know we're responsible. We're here to make a difference in this world. And that's what it's about. And the Meier case is a mechanism, one that I work with to try to bring it, because it will capture certain people's attention in different ways, for better or for worse. And it may help many people to become aware of their responsibility. And when that happens, then that's mission accomplished.
What happens with people that want to go and meet him and study with him?
There is no such thing, because he basically doesn't meet with people. Occasionally he'll come out if somebody's come and he knows about them or something and say hi. But he's not a guru. He's not somebody's teacher. Everything that people want, most of it, they could get for free, literally. Just go to the website. And my website and the ones linked from it have so much free information that you can educate yourself in this material and decide for yourself what value it has. They're not giving classes. There is a spiritual teaching thing, but it's in German for some of the people that work more closely with him, who are fluent in German, get some spiritual teaching information sent to them, particularly about much more precise and specific things that we're not at a place where we're really even familiar with the terminology and what it means, and it's not necessary. We have a whole chunk of the spiritual teaching in English on the website for free. So, and people who are working with him, who are also doing translations, who are very competent people who write articles about even the subtleties of some of the spiritual teaching. There's things in there on the power of our, thoughts, feelings, and the pharmacy that is the human brain, and they write on so many things, and they refer to Bruce Lipton and different people who they think are writing and speaking about things that are so closely aligned that we could understand it from that scientist's point of view, that they're on to this.
I have a couple other questions before we close today. We could truly go on for hours more, but two questions for you. First one is, what has been your relationship with Wendell Stevens, Colonel Wendell Stevens, and do you have anything you'd like to say about him?
Sure. I probably first met Wendell about 20 years ago in all of this. Even a little farther back, I had met Lee and Britt Elders, the two private investigators that worked with him, who were the main skeptics in the investigative team. And Wendell always struck me as a gentlemanly guy, as someone who is very congruent. I would say, drop a quarter in Wendell and look out, because he'll go for. I mean, he would make me look like I'm a mime. A mute, he could go for 8 hours easily, just on and on about all the information from his research, and he just was, true to. He was a true to the process kind of person. Now he himself, because he had certain religious beliefs, and he also had certain concerns about his life, didn't put everything in his own translations that he found in the Meier material. He left that for some of the more recent translations because he knew they'd be very hot.